Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Dr. Syed Raza Muhyiddin, member of the visiting faculty of Times Institute Multan for NPH classes. And this is the second lecture on the health promotion and health education. In the first lecture, we studied health promotion, its approaches, and different aspects of health promotion. Now, today we will study health education and communication. So, the basic health education, its basics is that it is the process of imparting information about health in such a way that the recipient is motivated to use that information for the protection or advancement of his own, his family's, or his community's health. It's very clear. Then is the health education is an active learning process. So this leads to, health education leads to changing of attitudes and behaviors towards good health. Now it is vital for the prevention, because what prevention you are going to apply for the people must know what is going on. If they or have the complete knowledge of that prevention, that can work well. Then the official WHO definition of health education is, it comprises consciously constructed opportunities for learning involving some form of communication designed to improve health literacy, including improving knowledge and developing skills which are conducive to individual and community health. Now we see what are the objectives of health education. Why we impart health education to the public? So it is, the first is to informing people. So we inform the people about different diseases and what are the causes of those diseases and how we can prevent them. Then first we inform them and we motivate the people. Just we clarify certain things, we make their attitudes, beliefs and values. There are certain beliefs and values for different diseases. And in our country, where there are more than 30–40% people, they don't believe in this form of medicine. They believe in peers and dargahs and hooks and tawizes, they say, and they have their own ritual or their belief that so and so disease is due to so and so. Like nazar lag gayi hai in Hindu countries, Devi नाराज हो गई, ये काम किया तो इसकी वजह से ये हो गया. Instead of a pathogen, we blame the other factors. So we have to motivate through health education, we motivate the people, and so we keep them to the level that they can change their lifestyle. So motivation is a combination of forces which initiate, direct and sustain their behavior. Then we give a guideline into the action with the, if a person who has obtained health information, so might be motivated to change his behavior and lifestyle. And our best advocate is that person who is himself motivated, he will, tell to the other people as well. Then what are the approaches to achieve health? First is the legal or regulatory approach. I already told in the last lecture. So we have the government make laws to protect the health of the public. Like in Corona days, you have to see the lockdowns, the using of masks, the wearing of gloves, the social distancing, and the closure of the marriage halls and the restaurants and all that. This is due to legal or regulatory approach, and only a government can do it. Then there are some epidemic diseases act, pollution act, food adulteration act, environmental act. They are involved in Pakistan as well. Then there is administrative or service approach. This intends to provide all the health facilities to the people with the hope that they will use it. And if there is a failure in the service, so you deprive the people to the healthcare need. Then is the educational approach. This is today's topic, health education. In this approach, we use effective means of changing the health practice and lifestyles through education. And motivation, communication, and decision making are the components. And this health education is a slow process to achieve health. The lifestyles are not changed in days. They are, when I was a small child, we used to eat roti and salan, or rice and salan. Nowadays, hardly any youngsters use this type of food habit. They used to eat burgers, pizzas, so the lifestyle of food is changed. In the same pattern, this health education changes the lifestyle, which lead to the prevention of the diseases. Then there is primary healthcare approach. You all know that it involves the participation of all the people. It is the essential healthcare, or it is the primary healthcare approach is through participation of the community, and there is also the guidance is given to the people to identify their health problems, and they provide them the solutions of all that. Then what are the principles of health education? This is credibility, interest, participation, motivation, comprehension, enforcement, learning by doing, known to unknown, setting an example, good human relations. Then there is a feedback, community leaders, and then the soil, seeds. There are so many, principles of health education. Mostly it is academic. Then is the contents of health education. What you teach in health education is a human biology. You tell something about the human biology and how our system works. Then nutrition, of course, I already told you. Then is the hygiene, the personal hygiene and the community hygiene. Then the family health care, and then is control of communicable and non-communicable diseases, prevention of accidents, and use of health services. These are also contents of the health education. Now we come on to communication. What is a communication? So communication is regarded as a two-way process of exchanging or shaping ideas, feelings and information to bring about desired changes in human behavior. Then if you define health communication, it is a key strategy to inform the public about health concern and to maintain important health issues on the public agenda. The use of mass and multimedia or other technological innovations to disseminate useful health information to the public increases awareness of specific effects of individual and collective health, as well as the importance of health in development. Now, communication is the transfer of ideas. So we communicate some message to the, a doctor or a, communicator team is a sender. The public, the people are the receivers. and then you give a message, the receiver is required to receive the message, and then he can clarify his understanding of the message. So as in other communications, there are the components. So the components of communication, first is the sender. He is originator of the message. His objectives, it is with some objective, should be clearly defined, and he himself should know the message and to know the channel of communication. Then is the receiver. The audience may be, the receiver may be a single person or a group of audience, and then it can be, there can be a control, like a homogeneous group, people of one interest, or this can be uncontrolled group that gather together because of curiosity. So someone is announcing something on the megaphone in a bazaar and the people gather there, the uncontrolled mob. And if you gather pregnant women in a room and you are telling them they have the different, side effects of anemia in pregnancy, so it is a controlled, the receivers are a controlled group. Then is the message. What is the information being transmitted by the communicator to the recipient, the persons? So how you should give a message to the person, it must be in line with the objective. What is your objective, what you want to tell, it must be in line. Then you must not, just going all around, but you are not telling the message. And then it must be clear and understandable, specific and accurate. It must be timely and adequate. There must be some interest, and culturally and socially appropriate. This loss, culturally and socially appropriate, is well understood to all of you, that how you have to give a message or to communicate to ladies, to elderly people, to some religious group, and all that. That must be, the cultural and social norms must be kept into mind. Then there are different channels of communication. There is also called media. It must be efficient in transmission, early understandable, and able to bring good response. So what can be the best channel of communication? If someone asks, you will tell it is face to face. When some other channel or some other person or some other is involved, there can be some mixing or change. If you are talking to someone face to face, so you can give the clear message. नामा बरना मयसर हुआ तो खूब हुआ, जुबान गैर से क्या शरे आरजू करते. If you want to give the clear message, give it to yourself face to face. Then is the feedback. Feedback is how the flow of information, you are communicating a message to the recipient, and the recipient response is the feedback. It is very important part of the communication. So by the feedback, you can modify your message. Then there are types of communication: the one-way and two-way communication, verbal and non-verbal communication, and formal and informal communication. The one-way communication is the people are sitting and you are, giving one way, you are a sender, but there are certain receivers and you are giving the communication. So you are imposing something. And this method is authoritative. Or there are audience, they may not listen it well or in a good way. Then is the verbal and non-verbal communication. The verbal is a traditional way of communication. What I am talking to you is a verbal communication. Now the non-verbal is the body movements and facial expressions. Your smile, your face of anger, your body movements, you're telling, this is all form of, sometimes if a person don't speaks, you can understand what he is saying. So, a scholar well said that the words are a poor form of expression, and if you can't understand my silence, you will not be able to understand my words. So that is in a different context, just for you know. Then is the formal and informal. Formal communication from the lines of authority. It is a communication from a DHO to deputy DHO to deputy DHO to MO. This is a formal communication. Informal communication is conversation between friends and colleagues, although they can be within the organization, but not the official one conversation. Then there are certain barriers to communication. The message can't reach the 100% to the recipient. So there are certain possible barriers or psychological barriers. Suppose I am a recipient, I am angry and depressed at a time. Whatever you are saying, I will not understand. The psychological barriers. Then there are physiological barriers. I am sick, I am running temperature, I've got pain in the so this is a barrier. Then environmental barrier, there is noise outside, there is a lot of smoke. Then there are culture barriers. As you all know, there is difference of cultures. The one they can't understand your talk and message. Psychological barriers, I already told you, emotional disturbances, depression, neurosis, and then physiological barriers are if for a sender it is this is difficult in self-expression. Then from other side is difficult if they have got difficult hearing, can't see the chart proper, and if the channel of communication are selective. So if not good channel of communication. Then environmental mention, noise, difficulty, rain, congestion, lot of people are sitting, so you can't see the message. So cultural barriers is the patterns of behavior, habits, beliefs, customs, attitude, religion. So these are all barriers. So there are different educational aids used in health education we are studying. So the different aids used in education are auditory aids, visual aids, and a combination of audio video aids. Now you can see we are using this on this lecture audio video visual aids. Then is the auditory aids based on the principles of sound, electricity, and you can use megaphones, microphones, gramophones, tape recorder, radios, sound amplifiers. Then visual aids, the principles of these are based on the principles of projection, projected aids and non-projected aids. Then the advantages are the these projected aids, they are self-explanatory. You just see and you understand, and creates a special interest among the audience to watch a film-like thing. And there are certain non-projected aids, like you see pictures, cartoons, just charts. These are non-projected aids. Models, specimens, leaflets, printed material, newspapers, booklets, brochures. These are non-projected aids. This also helps you. These are the the person has to in the film there is an interest, but as such, seeing the blackboard and printed materials, it is less effective. Then you can use a combination of audio video aids. So sound and light can be combined together, like this in television, tape recorders, multimedia, motion pictures. This combination is used. So now we come on to what are the methods used in health education. First is the individual approach, then is the group approach, and third is the mass approach. Individual approach is the face-to-face, you just giving a health education to an individual. In group approach, there is a chalk and talk. You are just sitting and I'm telling you. Then there are symposia, there are group discussions, there are panel discussions, there are workshops, conferences or seminars, role playing, social drama, demonstration. These are all types of methods of health education. And then is a mass approach. So in individual approach, I just give an example. You come to a clinic, you go to a clinic, and the doctor educate you to how to brush the teeth. So this is an individual approach. Then this is advantage because it is as I already discussed that face-to-face education or communication is the best communication. In group approach, this chalk talk, there is if it is carefully presented and all the people are attentive, it's effective. This is ability of the speaker who draws attention, and then is the interest of the persons, the recipients. So it is the disadvantage is that it is one way. I am speaking and the people are listening, so it is one way. The recipients are passive. Symposia, you already know, it is on the selected topic presents a brief aspects, then there is no discussion, and in the end audience may ask questions. So the audience have to be within the things to learn. Then group discussions in the same way, certain groups sit together, they discuss and then they present. In panel discussions, there are panel of experts and the audiences. In the same way, like in symposia, they deliver something and in the question answer something, the panel answers. Then workshop they have certain things to do in the recipients do certain acts, then they to solve the problem. And then conferences and seminars, you all have attended at this program, halfway, 1 week seminars, there are speeches on different topics, conclusions, and all, recreational activity as well, or they have a, theme. Then there is role playing and social drama. You just add life to the things. You just make a, drama type of how to give advisement to a patient. So one becomes a doctor, the other a patient, and tells you different, the method in the funniest way possible, so that you learn from that. Then there are certain demonstrations step by step in front of the audience, and this is the high motivational value. Then is a mass approach, and mass approach is the communication through large people gathered, from all groups, and they can be, you can't collect that number of people which a television can gather, so they can't reach to in such a long place due to their socio-economic conditions. But this this positive factor is you give communication or health education to a wide number of people, but the disadvantage is it is a one-way communication, and you already have told you the disadvantages of one-way communication. Then there are different mass media, television, radio, newspapers, press, documentary films, posters, health exhibition, health magazines, health information booklets, internet. These are all mass media channels used. And now at the end, the conclusion is health education have the potential to tackle the underlying determinants of health and improve the health of all sections of society and immediate impact on behavior. So it is vital to practice the prevention and the channel for reaching the people and alerting them to health services and resources. The focus on health education is on people and their actions through planning and teamwork. Its goal to make realistic. So as you say, the education, health education and health communications plays a vital part in the health services for the prevention of different diseases and for the prevention and having good results during epidemics and for different communicable and non-communicable diseases.